Today I'm cooking a bean soup with a few alterations which you might have never tried before. Delicious, as you'd expect, and very Mediterranean. Also, I have cooked on the channel recently borlotti beans fresh from the garden. Today I will be using tins of beans so that you can still see how you can enjoy a delicious bean soup or bean pasta using everyday ingredients. But I will be combining black beans and cannellini beans. So I'll actually pour them in a little jug so that you can see what I'm talking about. So these are black beans. Of course you can use any beans you like. You can also use lentils or chickpeas, but I'm cooking beans today. So here are my black beans, and you will have noticed that I kept the water. As I often say, do not dispose of it because it's full of goodness and flavour. And here are my cannellini beans. So what I'll do, I'll prepare all of my ingredients first before I start cooking, and I'll show you what I do as part of the preparation. So hopefully it will make this video a little bit simpler to follow. And I'll mix these together, they're done, and I'll put them on one side. This is a very rustic recipe, by the way, and I will be preparing the ingredients fairly chunky, and also I will be preparing them in the order that I'll be cooking them. So I've just picked a largish onion. This is pink. It's a compromise between white and red, so I fancy pink today, but any onion will do. And I just chopped my onion and I left it nice and chunky so that I can retain that rustic look, so that can go out on one side. I've got a green and a red pepper in my fridge. I decided to go for the red pepper for two reasons. Number one, because it's going to look nicer in terms of presentation, but also red peppers are slightly sweeter, so I am keen to retain a balance of sweetness in this dish. But you do not have to use a red pepper. A green pepper or yellow pepper will also be fine. But just like I did with the onions, I'll chop it in relatively big pieces like this, and they can go with the onions. Julie planted lots of celery seeds earlier in the spring, thinking that she might not be very successful. We are absolutely inundated with celery plants. So this is fresh from our garden, and I'm chopping it in relatively big pieces, as you can see, including the leaves, by the way. The leaves are very good, so that can go also on one side. And I'm ready to move on to interesting ingredient number one, potatoes. What is so interesting about potatoes? Not much really, it's just a combination of what I'm going to be using today. So these are potatoes from our garden actually, so they've been drying for a couple of weeks, so I'm going to be picking three little ones. But here is the interesting part. These are not new potatoes, these are sweet potatoes which we purchased from the supermarket, and I'm going to pick a medium-sized one. I'll go for this one, and I will be combining both because these are normal earthy flavored potatoes. These are lovely and sweet. Of course, if sweet potatoes are not your thing, do not add them in. We actually start using them relatively recently, within the last year. We always used to use normal potatoes, but it's not until actually my daughter Gabriella start cooking more with them that we introduced them to our diet, and now actually they are every week we do something with sweet potatoes. You can of course, as I said, use normal potatoes and just stick to normal potatoes if you don't like them. However, I'm doing actually something slightly different with the potatoes. I'm not leaving them in big chunks because I want them to release as much of the starches as possible. So if you look, I'm chopping them in little cubes of approximately 1 centimeter. So I'm nearly done actually. I just spotted a few monkey bits. I better get rid of them, otherwise Julie will tell me off. Sometimes she watches the video afterwards and she said, "Oh, you left a monkey potato in there." So I'm moving them onto a bowl, and these are ready for later. Let's move on to the next ingredient, which is over here. I picked some chard earlier from our garden. We've got so much chard that is really lovely, and every week I do something with chard. But you can also use spinach or any leafy greens that you got good access to. It doesn't have to be chard. Obviously I'm using chard because that's what I got in the garden. But doing sure that you chop it in pieces like this, fairly rough, and that is also ready, and it can go back for later. And the last ingredient is going to be garlic. Again, this is also from our garden. I'm leaving the skin on and I'm crushing it, and this is ready. So I'll go and get my hob connected and I'll start cooking. Saucepan, mine is a cast iron, but you can use stainless steel or anything, whatever you have. The important thing is that it's big enough to hold all of your ingredients. And I'll start by applying some olive oil. I'm going to be fairly generous, a good full tablespoon that is. And I'll start by adding my chopped onions and peppers, and also here my celery can go in, and my chopped potatoes. I'm going to salt this now so that I can forget about it, and I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoon of normal salt and loads of pepper. That's great, that can go away, and I'll start mixing it straight away, and I'll wait a couple of minutes until the ingredients have infused together, and then I'll add the garlic. And as mentioned, within a couple of minutes I can add all of my garlic in, and I'll mix it together. This is tomato puree, and I'll add a good dessert spoon in like this, and I'll mix it in. These are little chilies which we keep in the freezer and they last forever, and I'll just, as it is still frozen, I'll put one inside. And I'm ready to add all of my beans. They can go in next. I fill the tins with more water. This is cold, so is a way to still retain some flavor, so I'll add it in. Once everything starts boiling, I'm ready for interesting ingredient number 2. This is curry powder. It's medium, and I'm going to add 1 heaped teaspoon. Now, I know it's a little bit of an unusual ingredient, but trust me, it is a game changer in this recipe. So if you try just the once, you will know what I mean. So I have added that in, and I've got a couple of more ingredients left. So tin of chopped tomatoes. You do not have to spend an arm and a leg. You can just buy the cheapest you can find in the supermarket, so that can go in next. Followed by my chopped chard, and this is why you need a big enough saucepan, of course, but do not fear, this will go down drastically in volume. And I'll turn the temperature up once again, and I'll place the lid on, and I will wait until it reaches the boil, and the chard will reduce in volume, and then I can establish how much more water I need to add, if any. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. And let's take a look. Oh my god, the smell coming up is absolutely unbelievable. Honestly, it's something else. So let's push the chard down. You can see that has actually diminished almost to nothing. But I will be adding a little hot water. I just boiled my kettle, and this is safe to add hot water now because everything obviously is really hot. And I'll add enough to go about 1 inch on top of my chard like that, and that's perfect. So everything is cooked, of course. The beans were already pre-cooked, so they do not need to cook for very long. About 25 minutes. I'll turn this down on medium, and then we can have a good taste and see what it's like. I'll see you then. I'm not sure about you, but I absolutely love meals like this. The flavor coming up is gorgeous. The combination with the chard is also really good. There is a beautiful earthy flavor coming up, and I'm now doing a portion. What I do, by the way, whenever I serve things like this, I always make sure that I start with the solid first, so that I ensure that I pick a good combination of various ingredients, and then I'll do the stock later. Now just picture it, this took me about 45 minutes to cook from beginning to end. 25 minutes was cooking time, so arguably you could say that everything was done in 20 minutes. You can prepare it the night before and put it in the fridge, and then you come back from work, it's really cold outside, and you don't need to worry about cooking, and you warm it up, and you got an immediate meal already made for you, and it will warm you up in seconds. So I've done my solids, and now I'm doing a little bit of my liquid, and that is ready. You can add some Parmesan cheese or pecorino, grated cheese on top if you like, but I'm not going to bother today. I'll just add a little olive oil. That is something which is very, very Italian, and I'll mix it in, and I'll try some. And let me just a mixture of my beans, but also a little sweet potato, and see what it's like. It's assolutamente deliziosa, which is absolutely delicious. Genuinely, if you try this and you add the little curry powder, you will know what I mean. It's unbelievable, so tasty. I'm gonna have another one. You can also make a little bit more liquid if you want. Cook some pasta and add some pasta, but I've got potatoes today, so I think there's enough carbohydrates. Make it and let me know how you get on. Thank you for watching and buon appetito. Ciao ciao.